Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Rodney, and I'm back. And I just wanted to come and run my mouth and talk about the mess. Okay, so I've been like in and out of the whole Diddy trial. I'm not one to want to take in a whole bunch of. I'm just not into like the whole Diddy stuff like that. Like I have to kind of take. I have to kind of. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Be aware of the things that I take in. um shout out to the people who, are diddying it out. That's just not for me. So I just kind of like pop my head in, pop my head out, pop my head in, pop my head out. But today, it's been a few days since we really talked about Diddy. I wanted to come down here and talk about um, Kid Cudi, Cassie's mama, just Diddy, and just like the RICO charges. I'm not an expert in any of this. However, I do believe that Google is your friend. And when I don't know something or when I want to know something, I go to Google. I didn't do, an extensive amount of research when I started to Google what are RICO charges? Because I have been seeing more than a few people online talk about where the RICO charge at. This ain't no RICO. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just go to Google because maybe they got it wrong. Maybe this isn't, maybe the people who brought the charges against Diddy, maybe they got it wrong. Maybe this isn't RICO. I was on Twitter and I saw DJ Vlad. The white man who the nickels. They love to go sit across from DJ Vlad. They love it. They love it. They love it. Um, I saw a tweet that ran across my desk, and this is what DJ Vlad had to say. I'm going to repeat what I've been saying since before the Diddy trial started. This is a domestic abuse case, not a RICO or sex trafficking case. And domestic abuse isn't even a charge. I have yet to see a witness who was trafficked. The male prostitutes didn't seem like they were being forced when they got paid to F Cassie. I'm pretty sure they would have done it for free once they found out it was her. I have yet to see the criminal enterprise on which the RICO charge is based on. Last I checked, Diddy's enterprises were legitimate businesses, not criminal fronts. The whole case seems like a ploy by 5 female prosecutors to publicly humiliate Diddy because they are mad at how he treated a fellow woman. And if we want to be fair, Cassie should be getting the same, is this on? The same prostitution and sex trafficking charges as Diddy. But instead, she got immunity along with $20 million from Diddy and $10 million from Intercontinental Hotel. When the dust settles, she will be the real winner of this case. Well, Diddy didn't have to pay her the $20 million. He paid it within 24 hours. Okay, so um, I went to Google, and again, I didn't do a lot of, I didn't do a large amount of research. It wasn't very extensive, probably about 30 minutes. Um, and this is what I found, okay? So we're just going to do a little breakdown of what Diddy is charged with, and then we're going to go into like what I found as it pertains to like what is a RICO, okay? So one of the things I found, we'll just start kind of at the beginning. And this is just an AI overview. Sean Diddy Combs is currently on trial in a Manhattan federal court facing charges related to sex trafficking and racketeering. Here's a breakdown of the charges against him. 1. Racketeering conspiracy. Prosecutors allege that Combs led a criminal enterprise that engaged in various crimes, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Number 2, sex trafficking. Combs is accused of using force, fraud, or coercion to compel women to engage in commercial sex acts, particularly in events known as freak offs. 3. Transportation to engage in prostitution. This charge relates to the allegation that Combs transported individuals across state lines to participate in prostitution. For the girls who don't know, you do know, even if you do it, right, girl, even if we did it, it is illegal to engage in prostitution in the majority of places in the United States of America. In essence, the prosecution argues that Combs used his power and influence to exploit and abuse women for his own sexual gratification and financial gain. I also saw this, and this is from NBCnews.com. Again, we're just going to kind of start at the beginning. This is just another kind of just to repeat what I just said in a way. But this is from NBCnews.com. What do prosecutors allege? The prosecution case against Combs, 55, centers in elaborate produced sex performances known as freak-offs. Combs prosecutors allege in their indictment orchestrated marathon hotel room encounters involving heavy drug use and coerced sex. Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct, prosecutors write in the 14-page indictment, which has been updated 3 times since September. Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice, prosecutors allege. What are the charges? Combs faces 5 criminal counts: 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison and a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison, and 2 counts transportation to engage in prostitution, which carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Okay? So the next thing I found, this is one more thing, and then again, this is going to kind of sound repetitive. We're going to get to the whole breakdown of what the RICO is, that I found on this law website. So this is another thing. Yeah, I put a question in: is Diddy being charged with a RICO charge? And then it came up: yes, Sean Diddy Combs is facing a racketeering conspiracy charge in his federal indictment, which is related to the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act (RICO). Here's a breakdown of the situation, and then it goes to say racketeering conspiracy. Diddy is accused of operating his business ventures as a criminal enterprise and is charged with racketeering conspiracy, according to USA Today. The RICO Act, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, is a U.S. federal law designed to combat organized crime. It allows for the prosecution of individuals involved in criminal enterprises that engage in a pattern of racketeering activity. Um, Diddy's allegations: prosecutors allege that Diddy and his associates engaged in various criminal activities, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice, all under the umbrella of a criminal enterprise. Essentially, the RICO charge is being used to prosecute Diddy for allegedly using his business empire to conduct and conceal various criminal acts, including those related to sex trafficking. Because you know that in this case, they were going from different cities, different states, and engaging in prostitution, having people flown out. All types of care. Y'all know this. Y'all know this. Y'all know this. He was using his business to cover up the illegal activities that he was engaging in. When you have people that are helping you set up these freak offs, right? Whether they're bringing in the baby oil, bringing in the condoms if and when they use them. When you have people setting up these hotel rooms for these freak offs, girl, what do y'all think? What do y'all think is going on? When you're blowing up folks' cars, when you're paying people off so they won't say anything, when you're dragging somebody who tried to leave a freak off, aka Cassie, and you force her back into a room, when you send one of your security guards to go get her and bring her back, that could be considered kidnapping. You're forcing someone against their will. All this stuff you can find the definitions of kidnapping, sex trafficking, all those things you can find on the internet. If I force you to come somewhere that you don't want to go, that could be considered kidnapping. All right. So let's go to the article, right? So this is from Patus and Associates, Patus Law. Girl, you're not gonna pronounce it. I will mess somebody's name up. Law.com. Of course, I'll put the link to the article in the description box. So it goes a little something like this: Understanding RICO charges and defenses in federal court. And this was published on April the 27th, 2024. This is kind of a lot, so I may skip over some of it. Again, I'll put the link to the description box. I'll put the link to the article in the description box. So if you or someone you know faces charges for a RICO offense in federal court, it's crucial to recognize the gravity of the situation and the potential consequences involved. RICO, which stands for the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, is a federal law that carries severe penalties for those convicted. A federal criminal defense lawyer will investigate the details of any RICO charges against you, as well as any available defenses to best minimize the penalties you face following a RICO-related arrest. What is RICO? The Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, commonly known as RICO, is a federal law enacted in 1970 to primarily combat organized crime in the United States. He was literally running an organized crime ring. The stuff that he was doing was illegal. You do know that you're not supposed to blow somebody's car up, right? You do know that it's illegal to transport sex workers from city to city to state, engage in prostitution, sex, have these freak that's against the law, right? He was running an organized crime ring. What's that? Oh, my airdrop. Okay. Anyone who participates or conspires to participate in a criminal enterprise that affects interstate commerce can face RICO charges. In the context of RICO, a criminal enterprise is defined as a group of individuals collaborating to commit a series of related crimes. These crimes can encompass a wide range of illegal activities, including but not limited to fraud, extortion, money laundering, bribery, drug trafficking, and acts of violence such as unaliving, the M word, or kidnapping. Let me go over that again. These crimes can encompass a wide range of illegal activities, including but not limited to fraud, extortion, money laundering, bribery, drug trafficking, and acts of violence such as the M word or kidnapping. It is important to recognize that RICO prosecutions focus on dismantling organized crime syndicates by targeting not only individual criminal acts, but also the structure and activities of the enterprise. Who y'all think was running this enterprise? Okay. So it goes on to talk about to discuss drug trafficking. So drug trafficking is one of the most common predicate offenses in RICO cases. It involves the illegal distribution, transportation, and sale of controlled substances such as cocaine, hello, heroin, methamphetamine, and marijuana. Drug trafficking organizations often operate as criminal enterprises with multiple individuals working together to facilitate the flow of drugs from suppliers to distributors and ultimately to consumers. In RICO cases involving drug trafficking, prosecutors must demonstrate that the defendant participated in a pattern of drug related offenses connected to the criminal enterprise. Evidence in the drug trafficking cases may involve surveillance footage, wiretap recordings, financial records, testimony from informants or undercover agents. Then it goes on to talk about money laundering. Money laundering is another common predicate offense in RICO cases. It involves concealing the origins of illegal obtained money by funneling it through legitimate business or financial institutions. Criminal enterprises often use money laundering to hide the proceeds of their illegal activities and avoid detection by law enforcement. And then it goes on to talk about extortion. Okay. Extortion is a predicate offense that involves obtaining money, property, or services through the use of force, threats, or intimidation. In the context of RICO, organized crime groups or gangs often commit extortion as a means of exerting control over businesses or individuals within their territory. Bribery. Okay. Bribery is a predicate offense that involves offering, giving, soliciting, or receiving something of value to influence the actions of a public official or someone in position of trust. In RICO cases, criminal enterprises may use bribery to gain favor with government officials, law enforcement, or other individuals who can help facilitate their illegal activities. To prove bribery as a predicate offense in a RICO case, prosecutors must show that the defendant offered, gave, solicited, or received something of value with the intent to influence the actions of a public official or someone in a position of trust that this conduct was related to the criminal enterprise. Evidence in bribery cases may include financial records, witness testimony, and recorded conversations. Then it goes on to talk about fraud. Fraud is a broad category of predicate offenses involving deception or misrepresentation to obtain money, property, or services. In the context of RICO, fraud may include mail, wire securities, and insurance fraud. To prove fraud as a predicate offense in RICO case, prosecutors must demonstrate that the defendant engaged in a scheme to defraud and that the scheme was related to the criminal enterprise. Evidence in fraud cases may include financial records, email communications, and testimony from victims or co-conspirators. Then it goes to talk about gambling offense. I'm going to skip over that. And then it goes to talk about unaliving in the context of, well, I'm not going to skip over a gambling offense. No, I'm going to go back. If we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. Gambling offenses, such as illegal gambling, bookmaking, and sports betting, can also be served as a predicate offense in RICO cases because we all need to know what can be considered a RICO case. Criminal enterprises may use illegal gambling operations as a means of generating income and laundering money. To prove gambling offenses as a predicate offenses in a RICO case, prosecutors must show that the defendant engaged in illegal gambling activities and that these activities were related to the criminal enterprise. Evidence Evidence in gambling cases may include financial records, surveillance footage, and testimony from informants or undercover agents. And then they go along to talk about the M word, MURDER. In the context of RICO, criminal enterprises may the M word as a means of eliminating rivals, silencing witnesses, or enforcing their control over a particular territory. It is one of the most serious predicate offenses under RICO. To prove the M word as a predicate offense in a RICO case, prosecutors must demonstrate that the defendant committed or conspired to commit the M word and that this conduct was related to the criminal enterprise. Evidence in murder cases may include forensic evidence, witness testimony, and recorded communications between co conspirators. And again, the thing is with the whole Diddy case, Diddy is literally running this enterprise and he's having people go out and commit these crimes on behalf of him, right? So in some of these scenarios, he's not the one who's getting his hands dirty. He's not the one who probably. I guess we'll find out. I haven't really read through the transcripts. He probably wasn't the one who blew up Kid Cudi's car, right? Again, you have these people who are doing some of these things on behalf of him. He's running this organized crime ring pretty much. You're having people set up these sex rings, set up these freak offs. You're having people go get Cassie, bring her back. That can be considered kidnapping. Girl, from what I can read so far, baby, they were absolutely right in saying that this is a RICO. It's a RICO, baby. Kidnapping is another serious predicate offense that RICO can charge. Criminal enterprises may engage in kidnapping as a means of extortion, intimidation, or retaliation. To prove kidnapping as a predicate offense in a RICO case, prosecutors must show that the defendant unlawfully seized, confined, or abducted someone against their will and that this conduct was related to the criminal enterprise. You don't think when Cassie tried to run out of that freak off that night and he dragged that bitch back inside that room? Okay. Evidence of kidnapping may include witness testimony, surveillance footage. Okay. And the recorded communications between the perpetrators. To be charged under RICO, prosecutors must demonstrate that the defendant was involved in at least two related crimes known as predicate offenses within 10 years. These predicate offenses must be related to the criminal enterprise and demonstrate a pattern of ongoing criminal activity. Girl, we in school today, baby. We just learning today. Ain't nothing wrong with learning. We gonna learn for the rest of our life. We always gonna be students, right? And then it just goes on to say the consequences of a RICO conviction, the penalties for a RICO conviction are severe and can have life changing consequences for the defendant. If found guilty, an individual can face up to 20 years in a federal prison. Girl, fines up to $250,000. Yeah, baby. Common defenses to RICO charges. While RICO charges are serious, it's important to remember that being charged does not equate to being guilty. Several defenses are available to those facing RICO charges. An experienced criminal defense attorney can aid you with your case. Some common defenses include lack of knowledge or intent. To secure a RICO charge, prosecutors must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant was aware of the criminal enterprise and intended to participate. You don't think that Puffy was aware of them setting up those freak offs in those rooms? You don't think he was participating? Oh, okay. You don't think that he was aware of them paying these prostitutes and flying them out from city to city to state to state? Oh, okay. You don't think he was aware when they kidnapped Cassie, when he pulled her back into a room against her will? Oh yeah, he knew because he did it. This is long. Again, I just wanted to read something. I'm not going to read. I just made my mind. I'm not reading all of this. I'll put the link in the description box, and yeah, you can finish reading it if you want to. But I just wanted to come down here and just do, so we could talk about what is a RICO charge? What does it consist of? And are they correct in their charges of Puffy? Does it fit under RICO? And based off what I have heard, that the things that people allege that Puff Daddy did, and based off of what we just read, it definitely falls under RICO. For the experts out there, the lawyers, the real lawyers, okay, y'all let us know, because it sounds like it to me. It sounds like it to me. Let's go ahead and talk about Kid Cudi. Baby, Kid Cudi walked into that building smoking a cigarette. I don't know if his nerves is bad. I don't know if his nerves is bad or what. Yeah, probably so. Mine would have been bad. So he walked in smoking a cigarette. I said, "Oh, Kitty." All right. So this is according to APnews.com. So rapper Kid Cudi testified Thursday, which is today, that Sean Diddy Combs broke into his Hollywood Hills home in 2011 after finding out he was dating Combs' ex-girlfriend, the R&B singer Cassie, and he said he was sure Combs was behind the firebombing of his car weeks later. Speaking at Combs' federal sex trafficking trial in Manhattan, Cudi said that while he and Cassie were briefly dating, he took her to a West Hollywood hotel in order to get her away from the seething Combs. While there, he said he got a call from Combs' assistant, Capricorn Clark. She told him Combs and an affiliate were at Cudi's house and she had been forced to go with them. Cudi, whose legal name is Scott, girl, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. His legal name is Scott, and he called Combs while driving home and asked why he was at his house. He said Combs calmly replied, "I want to talk to you." But Combs wasn't there when he arrived, Cudi testified. Instead, he found out that someone had opened Christmas presents he'd bought for his family and locked his dog in a bathroom. Cudi wasn't sure what was going on, so he called the police. A few weeks later, Cudi testified his Porsche 911 convertible was damaged by fire while parked in his driveway. Cudi said that he was at a friend's house when his dog sitter called and told him his car was on fire. Girl, baby, it's on fire, baby.
And then I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, "Oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire."
Jurors were shown photos of the car's red leather interior scorched and burned with a hole apparently cut in the fabric in the fabric roof. Ooh. Cassie, whose legal name is Cassandra Ventura, testified last week that Combs threatened to blow up Kitty's car and hurt him after he learned she was dating the Grammy Award winning rapper. Cudi said that he didn't have conflicts at the time with anyone other than Combs. "I knew he had something to do with it," Cudi said, leading Combs' lawyers to object. Jurors were told to disregard the remark. Combs denies involvement in the blaze. Cudi told jurors he met with Combs the next day at a Los Angeles hotel to try to smooth things over. "After the fire, I said, 'This is getting out of hand. I need to talk to him,'" Cudi said. At the end of the meeting, as they stood and shook hands, Cudi said he asked Combs, "What are we going to do about my car?" Cudi says Combs gave him a very cold stare and responded, "I don't know what you're talking about." Cuddy thought he was lying but let it go, and there were no more episodes at his house. A few years later, Combs apologized for everything when they ran into each other at a hotel, Cuddy testified. Combs seemed subdued as Cuddy testified. Although he looked toward the witness stand, neither man seemed to react to the other. Cuddy didn't look at Combs when he left the stand, wearing jeans and a black leather jacket. Cuddy arrived at the courthouse smoking a cigarette while someone held an umbrella over him in the rain. He didn't speak to reporters while leaving. During the defense cross-examination of Cuddy, Combs' lawyer, Brian still painted Cassie as the villain in their relationship with Combs and Cudi, suggesting she had played both of them and had been living a double life. Cudi testified that when he started dating Cassie in late 2011, she led him to believe she and Combs had broken up. In reality, Cassie testified earlier she was still seeing Combs and using a burner phone to contact Cudi so as to keep their relationship secret. Miss Ventura was living two different lives. Is that true? Steele asked. Yes, Cudi replied. Cudi said he was in love with Cassie and was upset to find out she later decided to go back to Combs. Girl. And then Cassie's mother got on the stand and said that she had to take out a home equity loan because he threatened her. Let me just bring the article up, baby. Hold up. I don't want to get it wrong. Yeah, so this is according to E! News. So Cassie Ventura's mom paid Sean Diddy Combs 20K after he threatened to release sex tapes. So during Sean Diddy Combs' trial, Cassie Ventura's mom, Regina Ventura, testified taking out a 20K home equity loan to pay the music mogul after he threatened to release sex tapes of Cassie. Baby, that's some nasty work. Days after her pregnant daughter took the stand in the trial against Sean Diddy Combs, Regina Ventura testified on May 20th about her memories from the decade Cassie was in and off, what was in an on and off relationship with the music mogul. Among her allegations against Diddy is that he threatened to release explicit videos of the Me and You singer after she started dating Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Masuda. Girl, I don't know. During her testimony per NBC News, Regina said in December 2011, Diddy threatened Cassie via email after learning she and Cudi were dating. In the email, which was displayed in court, Diddy threatened to release 2 sex tapes of Cassie, including one on Christmas Day. He also threatened Cassie and Cudi would be physically harmed, though not at his own hands. Y'all really think this man wasn't running a RICO? Was it like y'all really don't think this is a RICO? Like y'all really don't think this is a RICO charge? Y'all don't really think he was over there? That like while yes, he had Bad Boy, and he had Faith Evans, and he had 112, and Sherry Dennis, and all the boys and girls, and Day 26, and Danny DeCann, all of them. Girl, he was still using his power, his organization to commit these crimes. I don't know how. Is that not right? Am I saying it? Is that not the what? Is that not what happened? She added that Diddy said he was angry he spent money on Cassie and that she was now dating another man. We took a home equity loan, Regina explained. That was the only way we could get the money. Cassie's mother also testified for NBC News that during the same month, she took pictures of Cassie's injuries, which she says were received at the hands of Combs. Girl. Following Regina's testimony, the defense team declined an opportunity to cross examine her, with attorney Mark Agnafello telling the court, I do not have any questions. Girl, I know you don't. What you gonna ask her? Cassie addressed the threats Sean allegedly made against her and Cudi during her own testimony, telling the court May the 14th that it led to her calling off their relationship. I also read somewhere else, I can't remember, I can't find it, but I also think I read somewhere that I don't know if this is true, so don't quote me on this. That I think when the mama said, oh, "Excuse me," I had to yawn. Sorry, y'all. But I also read somewhere that allegedly she sent the money, the mama, Cassie's mama, and then he sent the money back. So I don't know how true that, but I think I saw that somewhere online. Um, and then of course you had the friend who he paid the $30,000 to be quiet when he knocked her upside the head with a hanger. So it is what it is. Let me see. I think I have it. Yeah, Cassie's friend Morgan claims she signed a $30,000 NDA after Diddy hit her with a wooden hanger. Girl. Yeah, yeah. Baby Puffy going to jail. He needs to be. All right, y'all. That's it. I just wanted to come down here and run my mouth for just a quick second and, just have a little class today so we can all learn. I'm learning stuff. Hopefully, y'all learn some stuff today. Again, I'll put the links to all of these articles in the description box. So if you want to go do some additional reading, or especially finish the one that I didn't finish because that stuff was just way too long, um, about when they were explaining RICO charges and all that stuff, definitely just, I would say go read it. Yeah. All right, I'm gone. I will talk to y'all probably later tonight. Am I going live tonight? I don't know. Last night we were on live for 4 hours. If I find something interesting to talk about, we may just go ahead and go live. I don't know. I gotta set a timer. Girl, we be on live for 5 and 6 hours, dragging people. All right, I'm gone. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good day. Bye, y'all.